You invest in a new AI tool, and then 6 months later, you have no idea if it's actually helped you close more deals or if it just made you look busy. The agents who are actually winning right now are not chasing every shiny object. They're using technology to build better relationships faster.
As a realtor, you might text on your own trying to convert a lead 3 or 4, maybe 5 times. If you're really, and if you don't get a reply back and that potential client is kind of ghosting you, we get our feelings hurt as humans and we kind of give up on
Rejection, nobody likes rejection.
But the AI bot doesn't have feelings. and it just keeps trying.
Yeah.
And so this one will try to convert that lead for up to a full year.
I went to the dentist, but the hygienist, I'm like, this lady's really good. She's asking me about my work. She's saying, how's real estate? I left there like, this is the best dentist I've ever been to in my whole life. And I talked to a friend of mine, and she's like, we have a CRM just like you guys. Before we get into today's show, a quick thank you to the partners who make this possible. Wise Agent, Subi, and the CE Shop, 3 brands I trust, 3 tools that actually move the needle. All right, let's get into it.
AI is not replacing you, but the agent who uses it will. This is AI Agent Advantage. One expert, one tool, one thing you can implement today. With your host, JMan.
You know that thing where you invest in a new AI tool, and then 6 months later, you have no idea if it's actually helped you close more deals or if it just made you look busy or maybe important? Yes, that's the real AI problem that we're talking about today. Every week, there's a new tool, a new automation, a new promise, and the agents who are actually winning right now are not chasing every shiny object. They're using technology to build better relationships faster. Today, we're going to fix the noise problem, one expert, one tool, one thing you can use before your next client call. Today, I'm sitting down with Brandon Wise. He's the co-founder and CEO of Wise Agent, one of the most respected real estate CRMs in the country. But here's what I really want to talk about. How a guy who was out there selling homes in Scottsdale, Arizona, built a tech company that has outlasted almost every competitor in the space. Not by spending more money, not by building more features, but by doing something the entire industry forgot how to do. Brandon, welcome to the AI Agent Advantage.
Hey, thank you, J-Man. Good to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate your support. So you started in real estate, which is, I think that's important to talk about. Just quickly, tell us a brief history.
Yeah,
Your top agent, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, I would say top agent, but yeah, I was got my license and kind of just got started with Coldwell Banker is where I held my license and really just got overwhelmed with everything coming at me, all the different places you can spend money and
Tiny pennies, right?
yes,
I think in real estate we're always looking at like, oh my God, this new thing, I can spend money and it'll make things easier for me.
Exactly. And then hearing about all the legalities and the lawsuits going on just had me kind of worried and I knew I needed to get organized and I wasn't organized. I needed a system or else I was going to end up getting sued is what my fear was, you know.
And so just real quick, the idea started on a napkin, right? With your CTO, your chief technology officer, and this is going to be in the extras, so you're going to have to, we're not going to talk too much about this, but tune in for that. It started on a napkin as a way to just keep your business organized, right? Right? Just so that as you get busier, and you know, if you're an agent watching or listening to this, as you get busier, things fall through the cracks.
For sure.
Right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to call this person, or I was supposed to keep in touch with that listing. And then you see it hit the MLS and you're like, shoot.
Yes.
Right. And so now when we're talking about, talk a little bit about Wise Agent. What is a CRM for those that don't know? Hopefully you.
Yeah, so a CRM is really, it stands for contact relationship management, but really it's become so much more than that. It's the platform that you will run your entire real estate business on. So it's going to be your day planner, your to-do list. It's where all of your leads will end up, all of your every contact you have, whether you're friends, family, someone you sold a house 2 years ago or a brand new lead, everyone's going to be in your database, and it's going to be the system that kind of walks you through converting that lead to an actual transaction, and then post-transaction to keep you in front of them and make sure that you build a relationship with them long term so that you can get the repeat and referral business.
So customer client relationship manager, CRM, right? If we're oversimplifying it, like just making sure that you stay in touch and stay top of mind with the people with your sphere, but then also the people that you meet that are leads or prospects and may convert, because we know NAR statistic, it's like 6 to 24 months from when they contact you, will they actually transact?
Right,
Right?
right.
They're like thinking about it. They're in that information gathering phase.
Yeah, I know. I would say it's really being a way to organize your whole business and put it into systems. So you can't really scale anything if you don't have systems that are
Amen.
consistent. And so that's what a CRM is all about. For each piece of your business, when this happens, what's the whole plan going to be? The system that we can follow every time, so that we can make this business scalable.
Yeah, I feel like as somebody who has a high level of ADHD, having a system in place or a routine helps me to stay focused. And I feel
Right.
like a lot of agents are like me, where they're like, I got to do this, and they're doing all the things. But now, when you have an organized space that says, this is what you actually have to do today,
Right.
before you make that reel on Facebook or do something that's fun, but maybe not the best for your business, let's get organized. So, when you, within Wise Agent CRM, what are some of the great AI features that you have built in? Because we're talking about the AI Agent Advanced.
Sure. Yeah. When you go to AI, of course, we've got our support. You can kind of ask any question you want about how to use the CRM and get some AI support that way. But the tools that we've built in to help you as an agent be more successful would be like our AI writing assistant. And so, as you're creating marketing campaigns on how you're going to deal with these leads from different sources, they should be talked to differently. So you're going to talk differently
Yes.
to someone you meet at an open house versus a lead that you get from realtor.com that you've never met. And so with our AI writing assistant, or with AI now, it's just so easy to write a nice, well thought out drip campaign specific for that house you're holding open, for
For
that neighborhood. And
Yeah, for that specific client profile,
exactly,
right? So if I'm
exactly.
specializing it, I think that's important, because if they're using other CRMs, it's like, I don't want to attach a buyer to a buyer campaign,
Right, right.
right? I want it to be a first time home buyer campaign, or a waterfront luxury home buyer campaign, or a condo in the city campaign that's very specific because it's different pain points. So
Exactly.
that's what the AI will help you with. Like, help me create this campaign for a first time home buyer who's looking to buy a condo in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Exactly.
Very
Yeah, and now you can do it yourself. Where in the past it was, the realtors calling us saying, "Hey, can you write a campaign for
right.
this scenario?" And it would take us 2 weeks to get something quality out. Now you can just do that in minutes for every scenario you have of leads coming in. So it's really changed and made the
And
the marketing so much better.
and I think the top agents were the ones that called you,
Oh, of course,
right?
of
The
course.
majority were like, "Oh, just add them to a campaign." And
Right.
then they're like, "This doesn't work." And
Exactly.
that's because they're not customizing it. They're not, we always say AI is not going to replace you, it replaces your excuses, but also it amplifies what you can do, right? So,
Right.
like,
Right.
creating those campaigns, like, now I have 6 different profiles of people that I work with: first time home buyers, that move up seller, that second home resort property, right? You have people in Scottsdale
Yeah.
that's another
Sure.
home, but they live somewhere cold too,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So speak to them. So that's people that you meet, but you also have a great system with the follow-up, right? With the lead. Tell us a little bit about how that works, because that's
Yeah.
where I
Yeah. No,
it's nerd now.
actually, so it's called our AI bot. And when we first released it, I wasn't a huge believer of it, just because I knew what I was seeing when I was getting AI text or
Yeah.
emails, But so it's an AI texting bot, and basically you can turn it on. And when the leads come in, it does need to know, is this a buyer lead or a seller lead or a mortgage lead? But once that lead comes in, then it will start acting like your assistant. So you give it a name, and then it'll start texting as the leads come in. It'll try to convert that lead into a client for you by having conversations, and so conversations are what's going to create this relationship. And it will just start texting the leads and asking questions. Are you pre-approved? It looks like you're looking for a home with a pool in it, with 4 bedrooms, with 3 work, or are you stuck on 4? Different things. And what we see is that, as a realtor, you might text on your own trying to convert a lead 3 or 4, maybe 5 times, if
Yeah.
you're really, and if you don't get a reply back, and that potential client is kind of ghosting you, we get our feelings hurt as humans, and we kind of give up on it.
Rejection. Nobody likes rejection.
Exactly. But the AI bot doesn't have feelings, and it just
No
keeps
feelings
trying,
here.
trying.
Yeah.
And so this one, will try to convert that lead for up to a full year. And we have had testimonials of people calling back saying 6 months later, it happened to send a text to that lead, and it was the right timing, and the lead replies back, and they start a conversation, and then the AI bot will text and say, "Hey, JMan, it's time for you to take over the conversation. They want to actually go look at a house, or they want you to come and list their home." So it kind of hands the lead right off to you, and you can say, "Hey, you were talking to Tom, my assistant," or whatever you named it, and a lot of times they don't even know they were talking to AI at all, because it's gotten that good.
It is that good. And so let's rewind it back, because I feel like for the non-believers out there, they're like, oh yeah, it's going to text. It texts. I've experienced it better than I feel like humans do, because we're used to texting our friends, right? I mean, we're used to texting people. We're not used to texting in a business setting in a way, like the right things to say to get them to actually reply. And it actively listens, where I think that might be where some people feel it's not just texting at them, right? If you reply, then it formulates like an active listening response.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're looking at Scottsdale. Where in Scottsdale are what about Scottsdale do you love? Oh, I love the hiking, going to Red Rock and doing these other things. Oh, perfect. So do you want something that's low maintenance, like a condo? And it'll keep on asking those better questions, right?
Right.
To dial it in, where I think some agents are saying, like, do you want to buy? Yes or no?
Right.
No? All right, see ya.
It words it well, and it continues to ask questions and get answers for you. So it just makes that relationship building so much easier. And it even throws in a typo and says, "Oops," So it adds a few things, So yeah, we're getting good testimonials every week now on it, and people are
So it's working.
It's working, yeah.
And so what does the handoff look like? So you said, like, if it's a buyer and they're like, hey, we're ready, we want to look at a house, then it texts the agent.
It'll text the
and
agent.
says, hey,
Yeah,
Brandon's
give
ready.
the details, and then it'll actually even make an introduction, and
Say, like, what's
good. Yeah, JMan's gonna follow up with you. He's the one that shows the houses, or he's our listing specialist, whatever it is, So it does a good job of handing it off, and then you at any time you can look at the conversations and say, you know what, I want to jump in right now, and you can just turn it off and you can take over.
Okay.
So you can see all and it's adding the notes, so we can see all the history as well.
And so in your Wise Agent dashboard, right? Am I saying the right thing?
Yeah.
Dashboard. In there, you see, like, okay, here are my clients that are having conversations, so you can kind of like.
Right. You know who is talking to you. You can turn it on and
on
off very
conversation.
easily.
Yeah.
And we've even had one guy that said, you know what, I had bought 100 leads 2 years ago, and never followed up on them, and now I feel embarrassed to even try calling these guys 2 years later. And so he put it on all 100 of them, and he ended up getting a couple clients out of it 2 years after the fact, that it just started texting him, and someone started a conversation, and it worked out, So
That's a whole other strategy, like old leads. So, like, if I'm a new agent, this is good. I like this. So if I'm a new agent and I don't have any business.
Right.
I have my sphere, they don't trust me yet.
Right.
If we're being honest, right? It takes a few
We
years.
know how it goes.
Yeah, it takes a few years before you build that trust, and they're like, you know what, JMan might actually stay in real estate. I'll use him now.
Right.
And so I'm doing open houses for other agents.
Yes.
And I get a lot of those leads, and a lot of those sometimes it's, oh, you don't want to convert, you're not ready. They don't make another call.
Right.
So would that be a good use case then, to like bring those leads, or even go to other agents in the office, like, hey, do you have any open house leads that stacks of forms that you never called on?
Go to your broker even. So the brokers know, hey, I've paid money for all these leads that I've handed out, and no one's followed up with them, and ask them, hey, can you hand me all those old leads, and put those on a campaign. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential people mainly it's just being used for brand new leads coming in.
Yeah.
But we had one guy that did that, and it was a success. So that I've heard about. I don't know everyone how they're using it.
Have you had anybody use it for, like, for sale by owners or expireds?
Ooh.
I think that would be a good use case.
I guess they might have used it, but I haven't had the feedback.
Put together like a focus group, because I think that would be cool too. Same thing, because it's the same thing.
Right.
I think FSBOs would be a little different, but expireds for sure, were like the majority of that traffic happens in the first week after they expire.
Right.
And then agents go, they're not going to list. When I tell you, just like, go after the old expires. They've been expired for 30, 60, 90 days.
No one's touching them.
There's no competition anymore.
I think that's very wise advice.
Yeah, it sounds like we're becoming a wise agent.
Hey.
So what other kind of AI tools are we talking about now?
Yeah, so really that's kind of the AI that's built in now. Of course, we're looking at everything out there, but we're being careful that we're not adding things unless it's needed and it's been tested and proven. But there's a lot coming, so we got our eye on.
What about when agents think of an AI system like with the texting and they're always like, oh, it hallucinates. How do you keep it from doing those kinds of things?
This
Like
is
what
I think this AI bot has been trained for you, and this was one of the first AI bots out there, so it's gotten better and better over time. And
because it uses the context from conversations
right,
then to adds to the knowledge base, and
and
the
this is
longer it gets used, the better it
and
gets.
it's trained for this purpose, for real estate leads
Okay.
only, and so yeah, exactly, it's been learning over time, and now if you start using it today, you don't have all the problems that we had 2 years ago, when it was kind of getting
That's all.
when it was newer.
Could I have it, could somebody, like a client of mine, text it directly? Like if I just said, hey, if you got, or add
They
it
they
in the
can
phone?
text it,
Yeah.
obviously
I'm
back,
just
but
trying to think of
it starts the conversation.
it starts the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, and says, hey,
And I think texting, just if you haven't started doing that, that's another huge piece why it works, is because people are not answering their phones anymore because there's just so much spam,
how
junk
much spam?
calls.
Yeah.
If that name's not in my phone, I don't waste my time even answering it anymore. And I think a lot of people are doing that. And your email, you can look at your email and how many emails you haven't even opened yet today. But if you look at your own phone, you're going to see you've already looked at every single text you've got, and so even if they're not replying, they're looking at it. It's 100% open rate right now.
100%.
Um,
So it's then like we call it modalities, right? Different methods of communication,
right.
where you could send me 10 emails,
And
and you probably have, right? And then I'm like, and then you might send me a quick text like, Jay, I'm like, oh, what's up, man?
immediately, yes,
Immediately I'm,
yes.
I'm replying. And you also have some social media integrated, don't you?
We do, yeah,
Yeah, can you
yeah.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so and I think that's a good point that you're making. Once you figure out what the devices that the lead wants to communicate to you on,
Right.
that should go in your CRM, so hey, this guy likes using Facebook Messenger, so then you need to learn how to use Facebook Messenger to communicate with that person. Or if this is someone that actually likes the phone calls,
Yeah.
get on the
Yeah,
phone.
I'm a messenger video person.
Yeah, but as far as social media, yeah, we've built it in where now you can easily push your listings over to Facebook or social and run ads on it. And anytime you're doing anything, we've got great landing pages that you can use to capture leads. So if you have an idea and you want to put an ad out on social media that captures the person's information, we can help you make a landing page, or you can use the landing page that's built into Facebook, and we integrate with that as well. So kind of depending on how you want to do it.
Oh, man.
But then those leads come right back into the system, and before you ever put the landing page out there, just like if you're holding an open house and you use a landing page for that, you pre-think out everyone that comes through my open house and signs this landing page. What am I going to do with them? So that you've already got a system. So after the open house,
What's the workflow?
so it'll be, yeah, the workflow. So as soon as they walk out, I want them getting a text message thanking them for stopping by my open house, or as soon as they click on my Facebook ad, I want them to get a text message, and then maybe that later that night get an email from me, and then the next day, and you can kind of pre-think out using your AI writing assistant to write this campaign, get it all set up, and then once you put the landing page out, it's just is all automated. So you can be out showing houses, you can do, be doing the rest of business, building relationships while this thing is dripping and bringing those leads
And
in
so that
and getting it started for you.
you said it fast because you're very techy, but I'm going to slow it down for them. So like what you're talking about is building a multi-touch campaign,
Right.
right? Where I think people, or a flow. And I think different CRMs have different terminology, different companies call it different
Right.
things.
Right.
And it's a flow is more like, okay, let's say it's an 8-touch campaign or flow. I'm going to send an email.
Right.
If they don't answer, then I'll send a text, or I'll wait a day and send a text.
Right.
And then if they didn't open the email, then I might send another one. But if they did, then I'm sending a different one.
Right.
Right. And super complicated. And years ago, we would hire a marketing expert to do this.
Yes.
But now with AI, I think, where I would start, and I'm just going to give you guys a little AI. little tip here is like starting with whatever AI you like, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and just saying, okay, I like to do a lot of first time home buyer workshops, or I do open houses. I specialize in first time home buyers. Give me a workflow from start to finish of how I can communicate with them and eventually get them in my funnel, right? Because like a landing page is like your top of your funnel,
Yes,
right? You're
yeah,
getting them in, and now let's
exactly,
cultivate that lead to convert it into business,
exactly.
right? Okay. And then you could do that. And I would just sit there and say, okay, here, go back and look at your business. And this is where CRM is important. And then I think that's the next thing we'll talk about. Look at the business and say, last year, here's what my business was made of,
Right.
right? I had move up sellers, I had some second home buyers, I had a few first time home, because some people go, oh, I specialize in first time home buyers. How many last year did you do? 2. And how many transactions? 50. You don't specialize in first time home buyers then.
Right,
Right?
right.
What's the rest of your business? Let's look at it so that we create content that converts for the people that you're looking at. But you're big on, we talk a lot about technology, but it's the relationship,
It's really the
right?
relationship, yes.
Keeping the human in the loop. Talk a little bit about that, because I think the way you have it designed, it has the AI component, but you don't lose the agent touch.
Right. I think the best thing to do when you're using a CRM or AI technology is to always be thinking, how is this going to give me more time back so I can go have real personal human relationships? Because in this time where everything is AI, human is what's selling. Everyone's craving more of the, human to human, just a real conversation with a real person. And so you use these systems to give you time so you can actually go out and have these real conversations. So you're not always behind the computer trying to figure out what the next step is and how to do it. Pre-set up every system for every lead coming in, and then it just kind of flows very easily. And you build relationships that way. It's over time, and it's consistency. They're seeing your name on email, on text, and then they're actually getting real phone calls. And you see them out at church, or you see them at the ball field, or whatever your activities are, and you can have those real conversations. And that's what So you're kind of using technology with the human touch, and that uses the technology to give you more human time back.
So it helps you to work less.
Helps you work less. Yeah.
That's one of my taglines, like work.
There you go.
Like, I don't want AI to help you to work longer hours and, like, work less, be more efficient,
Right.
so you can spend times on the things that matter most. Building relationships with your clients, spending time with your family, doing a kickball tournament with, with your colleagues and
There you
friends and a
go.
barbecue, things like that. So you've been watching agents use this platform for 20 plus years. You've outlasted all the I'm not gonna call them fly by nights, but it's like, oh, there's a new thing, and
Right,
you're like,
right.
I don't see how they're gonna stay in business, and they don't.
Right.
So what's the pattern you see with agents that get results versus the ones that go, I tried that, doesn't work.
Yeah. It's the consistent use. It's the people that are getting the most out of it. They log into their CRM the first thing every single morning.
Create the routine.
That's what they see. They see where their day is, how many people, who they need to call, what they need to talk about. They look at their transactions and they know where everything is.
Because the dashboard will tell you.
It's just all right there. And
Yeah.
so you can be so much more productive if you go, step to step, and you see everything you need to do that day versus getting in the office and trying to figure out, okay, am I going to make calls today, or am I, so I think just get it organized and then be consistent with it. Consistency is the biggest thing. And we see people all the time start using it, they do good, and then they forget and don't log back in, and then they say, well, I don't know what happened to my business, So it's one of those things you need to make it a habit and get in there every day, and then it will kind of help you figure out your days and your weeks and your month ahead, because it's keeping you organized
Well, and that helps you when you create the routine, that it helps you to stay focused.
Right,
And I think
right.
we started in the beginning with like, sometimes we're like, I'm busy here.
Right.
And, when you talk to agents and like, oh, I'm so busy. And what'd you do today? Well, I went to the dry cleaners and I organized my desk and I did. And so it really helps you to stay focused on the things that
matter.
matter to your
Right.
business, right? Income producing activities and
Exactly.
things. So you'll get an email in the morning, because I know I get it, and says like, here's the things you need to work on today. Or if you just log in, create that routine every morning, put it in the calendar at like whenever you're having your coffee, your tea, or your mocha, whatever it is, and then have the tab open, bookmark it, and say,
Right.
here's my dashboard, here's what I need to work on.
Exactly.
So instead of doom scrolling for an hour, how about you open up Wise Agent and focus on your clients because they're the lifeblood of your business.
And our members love that email. It's a daily email that goes out and it just kind of gets everything you need to do today.
Like
It'll grab
a summary.
He sends it right over to you every morning.
Yeah. I mean, it's like every CEO would get, here's what you need to work on today.
Right. Yeah.
The most important things. And so when you're working on that and you keep your time focused, what other, let's say this, because a lot of agents, this isn't talked about enough. They say, oh, I got a ton of contacts. I got 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. But it's not quality of the contact. Right. Chris Driver, we had him on from Reevaluate. He talks a lot about that. Like people go and they'll scrape their entire Facebook and get names. So what to you when you're starting to build your database, because I think that's so important in the beginning of your career and continuously doing it, but then you have something to sell at the end of your, like, good agents sell their business.
Right. There is a way to retire.
Yeah, bad agents just fade away. They become listless. Like they're like, oh, I just stop doing it.
Right.
So building that database, that's the lifeblood of your business. So what makes up a good database? If I'm brand new, if I've been in the business, and then now I'm looking like, man, I got a couple of years left in me, and then I want to go to Scottsdale and hang out with Brandon for a little while.
Yeah, if you have this database with all the real up-to-date information, then it becomes very valuable. And a new agent coming in, when you're leaving, they will buy your business from you for all those referrals, and that's what we've seen over and over again. But it only works if you really kept up that database. So the big thing about every time you add someone in, it's going to want to know, where'd you find this person? What was the source? You only meet them one time. So did you meet them at the grocery store? Was it a walk-in, a floor call, an open house? And you'll track that. So you're going to know, where did the majority of my business come from? Every year you can pull up all the sources and see, oh wow, I'm doing a lot of business with people at church, or a lot of people from the soccer field, or whatever you do. And then adding the categories, so you can put people in as many categories as you want. And so I'm talking to you,
tagging them, you're saying,
tagging them,
buyer, seller, potential buyer.
What are their hobbies? When JMan says, hey, I'm going to go running tomorrow morning, now I know, hey, he's a runner, so I'm going to put him in my runners category.
Stop right there. This is a perfect example, because Brandon had one of his people, I think I saw him at the next conference, and then they're like, JMan, wait, I have something for you. And I got a winter hat with Wise Agent on it, because they're like, we know that you run a lot. And I'm like, and I wear that proudly now. When I go running, I think of Wise Agents. Perfect, example.
Yeah, and I think that's something that sets us apart as a technology company, is we try to practice what we preach.
Right.
And we're hearing it, so we're out there trying to build relationships. That's what we're doing at this conference right now, shaking hands and making sure that we also have that human touch out there. And
you add their interests. What other kind of information?
Yeah, so we're gonna put he's a runner. That's a category we put in. Or a lady stopped by and she's wearing a cowboy hat. I know she's into horses, so I would put her in, And then when a marathon is coming to town, and I can click on my runners, and I've got 50 of them in there, and I can just shoot an email to them saying, hey, I just saw that there's a half marathon coming, and I thought you might be interested in this. Just send a little information. It doesn't have to say anything about real estate, but it's got my branding at the bottom, and it just builds relationships, because it shows that you care, you were listening. And there's no way to, when you're having hundreds of conversations a week, if you're not putting them in a database with their notes and categories, your brain will not remember who all the runners are from 3 years ago. But if you're doing this over time, it builds up, and it gives you all these talking points outside of real estate that it really touches them when you think of someone.
And it helps to make the better relationship.
Right. And when you send the email, of course, it looks like you're sending it just one-on-one. Even if I'm sending it to 100 people, it says, hey, JMan, I thought of you, and it's using their name in the subject line.
You didn't? I thought that was... Yeah, no, but as much information about if they have kids, what are the kids' names,
Yeah,
dogs, cats,
in every good CRM, and definitely in Wise Agent, there's a spot for pets' names, even for family, and because
birthdays, home anniversaries,
every little thing that you can use
shows that you care.
Right. And when you go to a listing appointment, if you know the dog's name and the other agents didn't, you're gonna get that listing.
You bring, oh man, yeah, and it's funny because, and think about this, whether you're watching or listening to this, when somebody, if you have kids, right? I got two boys, and when I see somebody at a conference or anywhere, and we're talking like general business of how's life, and it's like, okay, we've had this conversation a million times with people, but then they go, how are the kids, right? They're getting old. What are they, 10 and 15 now? Everything changes.
Right.
Everything changes because now you touch my heart. It's not logic and head anymore. Now you're here, and I'm like, kids are good, then it's like more like you care. Just the fact that you know that I have kids or I have two boys and you follow me, that and all of that could be just in a CRM.
Right. And every time you have a conversation in the CRM, there's a spot for you to put the notes, and it's got a date and a timestamp, and they're searchable. But that way, if it's been 6 months since I talked to you and I'm getting ready to call, I can go look and see exactly what our last conversation was and say, hey, JMan, last time I talked to you, it was you and your wife's birthday. How did that go? And it just brings, it can help your memory, and it'll make those conversations so much more valuable if you're being human.
Yeah, it's funny because I went to the dental hygienist. Oh, I went to the dentist, but the hygienist, right? Like, I'm like, this lady's really good. She's asking me about my work. She's saying, how's real estate? Oh my gosh, the kids are getting so big, right? And I thought, I left there like, this is the best dentist I've ever been to in my whole life. And I talked to a friend of mine she's like, she is in real estate now, but was a dental hygienist. She's like, we have a CRM just like you guys. And she put all that information in there, and I'm sure she just looked at it before the appointment. And now I'm like, she's gonna try to talk to her, but it's still like, I left there feeling like she cared.
It makes a difference.
Even if I know after the fact that she's using technology,
Right.
but the fact that she did shows me that she cares enough to do so.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not just another transaction,
Right.
right? That's coming through there. So if I have 15 minutes after this episode ends, what's the one thing I would need to do it in Wise Agent right now? Like implementation. Let's get to it.
You know what? I think it's going to be different for everyone depending on where you are in your business. But the one thing that you need to know when you start using Wise Agent is that we're not like a typical technology company. We're actually known in the industry for being the only technology company that answers our phone. And so when you start using our CRM, you can kind of think of it like you've added an assistant to your team. A technology company is your assistant, and we answer the phone. So as you're going through, if you're going to hold an open house this weekend, then that's what you need to start with is what's the best way to hold an open house. And you can call us and we'll get on a Zoom and walk you through how to create a landing page, how to create the marketing campaign to go along with it.
So immediately after this, call Wise Agent.
Call Wise Agent.
Check them. Make sure they answer their phone and be like, hey, I want to get started next level. Because one of my favorite sayings is progress, not perfection. Right. Regardless of if you're just getting started in your CRM, let's get a little, let's get started the right way. Or if you've had it for a while and you've gone stagnant because you've been busy, right? Because sometimes we're working in our business, not on it.
Right.
Call Wise Agent and have them like, hey, what do I do next? How can I get this bot? What's the bot about? So it can help me with these old leads. And if you've been in the business a long time, sometimes people get comfortable.
Oh yeah.
Right? They're in their systems and they're like, I don't need to do anything, but maybe let's figure out an exit strategy. Let's see how we can build your database so that it's worth more.
Right.
So that I can make the transition and say, well, I'm going to sell it to Brandon and I'm going to ride off into the sunset and lead a good life. All right. So we always end with the same question with every guest on the show. What's the single best tip for someone who's getting started with AI?
Getting started with AI. I would say, don't just use AI the way it comes out. You got to put your human touch into it. So tell it what you would do, and then let it kind of edit your writings or whatever you're using it for. But don't just rely on it to do all the thinking, or it's not going to have your personality to it. So that's what it kind of.
So make sure it sounds like you.
Yeah, and take out the little M dashes, or else we're all going to know that that it was.
And emojis.
Yeah.
The freaking emojis, man, killing me, Smalls. Yeah, okay. So if you're just getting started with AI, then making sure that it sounds like you. That's gold. Thank you for that, because I feel that's my other tagline, is like keeping it real with AI.
Keep it real. Yeah.
People hire us for us, who we are, our personalities. So we don't want to sound like a robot.
Right.
We don't want to sound like a PhD professor. Like,
Exactly.
I'm very casual, I'm very informal. I make sure that the copy I create sounds like me.
Yes.
So they feel like they're hearing from me.
I think it's so important.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate your time. If you got value from this, do me a favor, share it with one agent who's still trying to figure out AI. Just one. That's how we grow this thing. Subscribe if you haven't already. And next Friday, we're going to be breaking down another tool with another great guest. You don't want to miss that one. But before I let you go, I want to say thank you to our founding partners, Wise Agent, Subi, and the CE Shop. They make this show possible, and they're building tools that actually help people in this industry. Check them out. All the links are in the show notes. And thank you for spending time with me. That is not something I take lightly. It's JMan with the AI Agent Advantage. Make it a great day.
Thank you.